Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Wellness, health is something that we all aim for and pray for. Our guest today, Darryl D'Souza, went through 14 years of suffering due to his ill health. However, within a year, he reversed his condition by using integrated natural therapies. In fact, his treatment of himself has been so inspiring that people all over the world today have either heard of him or read his book. His book, Be Healthy or Extinct, has readership over 200 countries. To tell us more about wellness, share some of his secrets, his treatments, we have with us Darryl D'Souza. He's a TED speaker. He is an environmentalist. He's an organic farmer. And of course, a wellness coach. Hi, Darryl. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. And good morning, Maria. Thank you for having me on this channel on a lovely Sunday morning. I'm looking forward to sharing a lot of good info with you and with our audiences.
Thank you so much. And Darryl, let's start with the first question, which is, you have gone through 14 years of suffering. For you, health is very important because you've suffered. You know exactly the value of good health. However, how would you define holistic health, good health, in relation to mind, body, and soul?
Yes, for me, holistic health is a good balance of all these things in life. So, when we look at the body depends on so many things that we physically do to it, and one of them is the root of food. So, if we have healthy food and if we have healthy body products, okay, and if our bodies are exposed to the natural 5 elements, then we will see that physical health gets better. And as we will talk a little later, hopefully, about food, people have a lot of notions about food, and they get into certain food habits, and it takes not only one lifetime, maybe few generations for people to see the effects of bad choices. People talk a lot about traditional Indian foods, but I will share some details today which are showing that some of India is, the leader in some of the chronic illnesses in the world, and they do come from these traditional ideas of food. So that is one aspect of food, and of course having a active life. Right now in the times of COVID, we are having mostly sedentary lives, not much of exercise, no exposure to the sun, and physical body suffers because of that. Well, in the space of mind, everybody in the world is stressed now with the current condition, trying to look at why we are suffering so much on account of COVID and what is the solution. People have lost their jobs, businesses are shut down. So the mental space is also quite, clouded and stressed. And finally, with regards to spirit and, our soul, how are we doing spiritually? We have come over generations into certain formats of society that have, through our ideas and notions of who we are, where we are come from, what is this world about, what is God, we have been inculcated into fragmented ideas of society which separate us from one another. And I think at this point in the planet, at a very stressed time, individuals and people and culture are coming together on certain common things, which is most important is healthy human life. How do human beings on this planet have healthy life? So I think they're going through a wonderful purging space where people can dissolve differences in ideologies and come together one, as one humanity to first of all look at the current problems that we have in society, and not only try to find the solution but also try to figure out how we came to this space, because that the key is there, which are the wrong decisions that we
The root
made.
cause.
Yeah, the root causes of so many things, and that's going on. This is what we do at the New Earth Summit also, which has been happening in Goa, second year. We just did the second year, uh, November last year, and it's solutions to our problems in health, food, farming, and environment. My experts from not only from Goa but across the country and the world. We had over 100 very experienced speakers present on the summit, and a lot of our audiences could learn a lot by going to our website, thenewearthsummit.com.
Right. Darryl, you said that today there is a gradual change in the way people think about health, right? So, besides the way of thinking changing, medicine and the pharmaceutical industry is making huge leaps to find solutions to our ailments. However, the illnesses, the diseases are becoming even more than what they were about 20, 30 years ago. Besides eating the wrong food and, of course, lifestyle, are there any other reasons why there is this, massive increase in diseases today?
Yes, when you talk of most chronic illnesses like high BP, cholesterol, diabetes, obesity, hormonal imbalance, I mean, I'm just recently treating cases where girls have started their menstruation and the menstruation is stopped by the age of 18, 19 years. That means they will not be able to have children. So these are the kind of sicknesses that we are facing. And virtually everybody, as they age, they're complaining of arthritis, acidity, constipation, migraines, back problems. So all of these chronic illnesses, you're quite right. Modern medicine, as we call it, or even after popping all of these allopathic pills, people are not able to, reverse these illnesses. They just, I say, modern medicines, are the crutches we use to walk ahead in life, and fool ourselves and others and say, hey, I'm okay. But that is not so. So, unfortunately, most of allopathic pills for chronic illnesses, they only take away symptoms. That means if you've got a headache, your headache may go, and continue doing that. Like my next door neighbor here in Kandulim, he was just on headache medicines twice a week or thrice a week, and after 6 to 8 years, he suffered from kidney failure, and he's on dialysis now since 2 years. So the main, thing is that most, doctors have not understood, have not been educated in, in their studies and in the MBBS course of the true causes of illness, and so I'll just share about that right now. And because I've trained over 100 doctors in this country who have come to my workshops, and they got some amazing insights and using, the good advice in their own lives for better health and in their patients' lives too. So, like we already touched upon earlier, food, wrong food, and I would say the worst kind of food is food that comes in packaged containers, and specifically whether it's a Tetra Pak or a glass bottle or a tin, specifically those foods that have got preservatives, and even worse than those, the foods that have got stabilizers. Stabilizers are chemicals, of course, they've got a technical name, but a stabilizer is simply something that is put into an airtight container Because if it is not put there, the other chemicals, whether it's a preservative or it's an artificial, tasting agent, coloring agent, fragrance agent, those chemicals would all cross react with each other and the food. So to prevent that kind of atomic warfare happening, a stabilizer is put in the tin to cut the cross reactions between other substances. And then we gullibly just think that, we take that tin home and we open it, and then we put that food in our body and allow literally atomic warfare to happen within the body. So there are various degrees of sickness that come from this. First is mild inflammation, and people are trying to get endoscopies, and to see what is happening in their digestive tract. So first is mild inflammation, then ulceration, then tumors, and finally cancer. So the more you have these products on a regular basis, the more of these symptoms you will see. So the other thing with illnesses is that people are using too many synthetic body products and even home products like cleaners and all of that. Now all of those toxins and chemicals get into our skin and through our pores. They finally reach our bloodstream, and then they reach the liver for purification. So it gets into our blood, makes even our kidneys toxic and our digestive system toxic. Some other reasons for sicknesses are chronic. Chronic means something that is long term. And now one of the biggest dangers that has got even worse right now since the last 1 year is the damage that is being caused to the human body from EMF, that is electromagnetic fields. And in my chapter in my book, Become Healthier Extinct, there's a chapter called Metaphysics of the Human Body, where I have explained the internal energy fields of the body. Of course, in India, it's not new to Indians. We all know the chakra system very well.
Yes.
And I have detailed and explained there how energy systems, through our food and nutrition, how the body lives and how these energy fields are radiating from within the center of our being through flesh and bone outside our bodies, to the extent that people who have clairvoyance can see them as auras around the body. So now when we have this harmonic energy field, we keep so many electrical devices all around ourselves. And now it's become worse with Bluetooth and wireless in everybody's home. And now, ever since the time that this world and our biosphere around the earth started getting electrified, that is ever since the time of the radio, and then all as the G went up, 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, and now 5G. Every time there has been a pandemic across the globe in certain places. Now, why is that happening? Because these electric fields all around the body, they impinge into the body and they create stress, and they make the cells go through a detoxification process. Okay, and that detoxification process, when that happens to the body, you will experience fever, joint pains, fatigue, okay, and sometimes even, and that's what we actually call it sometimes as the flu. Now you have, this also coincides with seasons change, and now we are going through the second seasonal change of the year, which is shifting from winters to summer. Okay, so that started here in Goa at least in the first week of March and 15th of March. Then the second seasonal change is, when it goes from in the month of October in a country like India. So whenever the seasons change, the body has to readapt to the atmospheric changes, and then it goes through a detox itself. Now this is coinciding with the second wave, what they are calling it. Even if there was no COVID in the world, people during the month of March and April, they do get flu, they do get sick, people get sunstrokes also.
Very true.
So this is very important, that we have to understand human beings need to live a we should not have these electrical fields around us. places where it damage the human. So that's what I say chronic. There's a chronic impinging and intrusion of unharmonic energy fields into the human body, which impinges on the cells and forces them to go into a detox mode. Now, I have been researching bioelectronics, EMFs, and the effects on the human body since the last 15 years. So I know this topic very well, and I am very clear that 5G is a much, much harsher radiation. And this whole COVID detox and people who are having these breathless symptoms, there is scientific research which shows that the radiation of 5G at certain frequency is close to 60 gigahertz, creates inflammation in the lungs, and that also creates the that means not effective absorption of oxygen in the lungs, causing breathlessness. So I think that 5G should be completely stopped and rolled back. I mean, I used to get good internet, and I could watch movies on my smartphone, even when there was 3G. I don't understand, what scientists are doing. The thing I feel is that the scientists who are in the field of promoting these technologies and making businesses out of them, they are much more powerful lobby than the health scientists who already know this, that these things are not good for the human body. So, people ask me that how are we going to live in a world without computers and internet and all of that? I said we were living with internet and all, but everything was cabled. Okay, I remember in 2010 I used to have a Skype phone, and that had a cord which was plugged into my LAN socket, and I could call anybody in the world. Okay, so we should use IP phones, we should use wired networks, so we can have internet, we can have movies, we can have international calling without these fields around the human body. So I would categorically state that as one of the biggest dangers to this planet and to human beings, this rollout of 5G. And I think in a place like Goa, we should form a very technical committee and even advise our Chief Minister Pramod Sawant, who is so glad on rolling these 200 5G towers out in Goa. And that was an announcement 2 months back, and I'm sure it's going ahead. So we have to do things in a scientific way and in a safe way that is, good for society. And the research must come from health practitioners, people who are deep into the understanding of the human body. And I think India as a country who has had, over 4,000 years of experience, this chakra system and all was taught to us over 4,000 years back. Our scientists should be the pioneers in advising that, what is good in terms of energy fields for the human body.
Okay.
So from that point, I'll just take a couple of other mentions very in a short way. The other things that are, causing sickness even more so now in the time of the pandemic is being indoors, living a sedentary life without movement and not getting sunlight. Even before this pandemic, people were deficient across the world in vitamin D, you see. So we are getting less of sunlight. That is something we need to get more. And also one very important thing which is called earthing. Now earthing is walking bare feet on the sand or bare ground, because that allows negative ions from the earth to come into our human body and neutralize inflammation. So all this inflammation that is caused by packaged food products, too much of stress, EMF fields, toxic body products, all of that can get neutralized by 45 minutes of barefoot, being on the ground. You can have your breakfast in your garden, just have a table and a chair and sit there on it and keep your bare feet on the ground. You see, so in a day, 20 minutes twice a day, very important. So if we have to survive this phase, we do need sunlight. I advise all my, patients and clients every morning 7:30 or 7:15, 20 minutes of sun on bare body with the minimal clothing in front and 20 minutes on your back. Okay, that will bring up your immunity, your vitamin D, which is responsible for the, functioning of many other minerals, vitamins, and processes in the human body. If we don't get this, immunity is going to be very low. And of course, lastly, like I said, stress. Yeah, the pandemic itself is a stress, but people should get out of that space of stress and start doing the right things that I've mentioned here. And lastly, I want to mention is that immunity is going down because our immune system is being engaged and not available to fight viruses, bacteria, and corona and all of that. One of the biggest factors, allopathic pills for high BP, cholesterol, diabetes, and all of that, because they engage, they're not natural substances, they engage the human immune system. Okay, so you can say 30% of your immunity is stuck in just maintaining your body and working with these allopathic medicines. So that's called the comorbid. Why are comorbid people now in the time of the pandemic so prone? Because 30% of the immune system is just processing all these tablets that they're having. Another 20% is processing our packaged food products and trying to heal the body from their damage. And then, the rest is from these, the different aspects that I mentioned now. And our immune system is basically engaged with all of this, 30% here, 20 here, 20 here, 20. Then what balanced immunity do we have left? Hardly 20, 15%. Now, how are we going to fight viruses and bacteria with that kind of immunity? So both these things are related. Okay, reversing of chronic illnesses happens by taking care of all these things that I mentioned, and having your immunity available to work in your favor to fight off, all these pests and all of that. People have not done the research, from where these viruses are supposed to come out from the jungles and all that. You go and see the people over there. There is no pandemic. There is no illness there because those people live a natural life and the immune systems are high. And this is what we should be doing in India with integrative natural medicine. Bring back in full strength all our natural medicine techniques and healthy, yoga, pranayam, mudras, healing with essential oils, having good diet, healing with herbs. That is the future of keeping the human body healthy. Not these toxic medicines that have never worked till date. And I don't see how, they are going to do us any good in the future as well.
Okay, Darryl, now I need to ask you. You said that people's immunity is lowered or compromised because of the medicines that they have. Now, for example, a diabetic patient, they have to take the diabetes pills. Are you saying that they should stop?
No, they should not do this. I have been doing, in Goa and other places. I am with the Lions Club of Kalangut in Goa. So I've been doing the diabetes reversal program since many years. Also the eye problems and eye health care, program. Besides that, many other workshops in my center, the Rejuvenation Center in Kalangut. Now, coming back to diabetes, no, if you are suffering from diabetes, then first you need to understand what is causing diabetes. And so once you understand that, you can stop doing the wrong action, and then your blood sugar levels will come down. You can monitor it on a regular basis, and then show your reports to your doctor, because people should not just stop medications on their own. They have to remember they are in a proper system. So what was the system? The system was somebody was feeling fatigued, or they were feeling like fainting. They went to the doctor. The doctor took their sugar, and the doctor prescribed through a paper, through a prescription, certain medicines to keep that condition, not getting serious. So that's the same route that people need to use. So I'll just share with you a couple of things regarding diabetes, and all diabetics can try this, and they will see their sugar levels drop within 15 days. This I've shown to doctors also, and it has helped them reverse their diabetes as well. Now, of course, there are many medical doctors who say that this is, completely false. Now, those are the people who have not tried it or done anything themselves, right? They're just with the old system of what they have been taught, that they have no business, with people till the time a person gets sick. And when the time the person gets sick, then they are supposed to open their toolkit, you see, and they'll give you this medication or that medication. So now what is this, what needs to be done, to understand diabetes? So one of the chief foods that cause diabetes is milk and milk products. This is explained in detail in my workshops and even in my book of how the higher fat content in milk increases the lipid profiles in people. That means an excess storage of fat within every cell in the body. Now, when your cell is already full of fat, why will your glucose port open to take in more glucose and convert it into fat and store it within the cell? It is not going to do that. So there is a resistance, because when we eat food like complex carbohydrates like rice and wheat, right, all of it breaks down into glucose in the bloodstream, and you have glucose flowing in. And if your glucose ports of your cells are not going to open up and take in the glucose, that glucose will keep on increasing in your bloodstream, and you say, oh, this is
And that is what causes the problems.
So this is one thing, high lipid profile. There is too much of fat from milk inside. Now the second thing is that milk has got what they call insulin-like growth factor, IGF-1, which is a molecule from milk that mimics insulin, but it is not true insulin. What happens is when sugars are in the bloodstream, then the signals go to the brain, and the brain signals the pancreas to make insulin. Because on our cells, along with glucose port, there are insulin receptors. So when insulin comes in the blood and is picked up by the receptor, there is a nerve that connects that insulin port to a glucose port. And when insulin is picked up, then the glucose port opens to take in sugar. That's why they say insulin is required for the uptake of glucose into the cell.
And that's why the diabetes patients take insulin injections.
So I'll just complete this part. So that IGF molecule in milk, okay, that mimics insulin, and instead of true insulin coming and getting stuck at the receptor, these molecules come and get stuck. But because they are not true insulin, that electrical signal is not sent and the glucose port doesn't open. So you have a jamming of this mechanism. That means sugar is there in the blood, but because of the milk molecule, this glucose port is not opening. So that's the second reason why milk causes diabetes. It jams the communication between insulin receptors and the glucose port. So these are the main two things. And then also too much of, India is the diabetic capital of the world. And I'll share you the third thing is that too much of fried food, that is refined cooking oil. When you use refined cooking oil, the molecules of oil are not individual, they're all clubbed, 5-6 molecules. And then these molecules also travel in the bloodstream along with our food, and they go and they jam the glucose port. And then you have glucose not able to come in because oil molecules are stuck there. So now this is the third big reason. So India is the diabetic capital of the world because we consume the most amount of milk products, sweets, put them in our cakes, in our biscuits, everything, and we have millions of fried food recipes. So these three are the main causes.
Darryl, can you just repeat, please? It is milk, fried foods or oils, and what is the third one?
Too much of complex carbohydrates.
Like rice.
Too much of wheat and rice in our food. Instead of that, we should be eating millets, especially a country like India, because the endosperm of the wheat and rice is the complex carb. And you see, when we eat this, we do it actually 4 times a day. Our morning breakfast is also rotis, then we have rice for lunch. Evening, we'll have biscuits or patties or whatever, or so many things. And then for dinner also, even if we have a salad, it's got pasta or noodles in it. So what happens with so much of glucose in the bloodstream, right? Every time this glucose profile goes up, then the brain has to send signals to the pancreas, make it. You see, so 4 times in the day, the 4 pancreas are making insulin, and they get into a fatigue. So that's why they start losing their capacity of making proper insulin because they're fatigued. So this would be the third, reason why we are, suffering from diabetes. And so if people do these things, they shift from milk and milk products to maybe nut milk. There are dozens of nut milk products, and then they reduce their fried food to the minimum. You can, for cooked food, you can bake, boil, roast, steam, and now you have air fryer. There are 5 methods of cooking. You don't need to have fried food. Okay. And the third is if they, at least for diet wise, my clients is that breakfast have millets. Only lunchtime you can have semi-polished rice, and dinner you have millets. So when people follow this, and one more important thing is that green smoothie, what people call like putting in a cucumber, tomato with some leafy greens like mint leaves or curry patta leaves, pan leaves, or couple of leaves of palak, and you blend it, okay, without juicing it out. You blend it so that the fiber remains inside. Um, and if you have that about 1.5 hours before lunch, now this green juice that goes in, the fibers of these vegetables, they are the ones that clean out the oil molecules from the glucose receptors, and they clean out this insulin like IGF-1 molecule from the insulin receptors. When that clean out happens, then your communication starts working properly, and your glucose port also, when it's opened, because all the oil is taken out from there. So we have seen people's sugar levels dropping within 15 days, 20 days, within a month.
So and this is once a day, Darryl. This is once a day,
yes.
Before an hour before lunch.
Yeah, 1 hour, 1.5 hours before lunch. Just a glass of 200 ml. If you don't have cucumber one day, you can add a little water. So when the sugar starts coming down, then you have to take your readings. All diabetics are taking regular readings. When the sugar goes low, they should go and show their report to their doctor.
Is there any particular ratio of tomato, cucumber, and the other ingredients?
This explanation and complete it. So when their sugar levels start falling down, that's when they should show their report to the doctor, and the doctor will then reduce the medication by half of water and phase it out. So I don't advise people to stop medication themselves. They should do the right corrective, curative process, and then from reports they should present it to the doctors, and the doctors will reduce the medication. Yes, Maria, you were asking something about tomato.
The ratio of tomato, cucumber, mint, I think you said coriander.
Yeah, you can just put these two things and about 2-3 leaves, either coriander or mint or curry patta.
Curry leaves.
Yeah, curry leaves. So you can do, like, for a glass of 200 ml, you can do 1/3 of of a cucumber, half a tomato. Then you can put about 6-7 leaves or 8 leaves of mint, 8 leaves of curry patta, 8 leaves of coriander, and if you need to top it up with little water, you can do that. But the leafy greens, yeah, maybe you take another leaf as well. That's fine. Now, people suffering from IBS or inflammation in the intestines and low, probiotic gut health, they will show a little bit of symptoms if they have this green juice on a regular basis. So, yeah, they need to do it for a few days, and maybe every alternate day. That would be fine. But
in your book,
every day.
Sorry, in your book, you have written a lot about the various cleanses. You say for the kidney there is something, for the liver there's something. Now,
yes.
For overall, if I want to do an overall cleanse, what can I have every day?
So these, for an overall cleanse, the best thing is to have, healthy, seasonal, fresh, organic foods from, minerally rich soils. So that's your best cleanse instead of having all these, contaminated and processed food. The cleanses by themselves are very focused cleanses for specific organs because they do a particular job in a good way. So there is no general cleanse. You cannot combine all of these things together. They are therapeutic in their specific formulas. So the kidney cleanse, for example, but when people have to cleanse their body, I recommend in this chapter in my book. First, universal cleanse for everybody is the kidney cleanse. It can be done with normal tea leaves or parsley leaves or coriander leaves, um, and do that for the tea leaves is for 14 or 15 days. The coriander is just for 2 days, or the parsley is for 2 days. It's explained in my book somewhere on page 204.
And this book is
So
available. There's a free PDF available for anyone who wants
yes,
to look at it, read it.
yeah, people can go to my website becomehealthyorextinct.com and download the book from there. Or if they can't remember that name, just remember my name, DarrylD'Souza.com.
Okay.
You can go there as
I
well.
will remind them about the name and your website later. We just have barely 20 minutes and I have so many questions that I need to ask you. So I'm going to go a little quick, Darryl, because there are lots of people who have so many ailments. Now I'm going to try and concentrate my questions on foods and things that are available in Goa. One fruit, vegetable, I don't know what it is, that many people, the websites, there are so many websites on it, is the avocado. Lots of people say that it is a superfood. One, what is it according to your superfood? And two, is there an alternative for avocado? Because avocado is expensive. Each avocado, depends on the size, is minimum 100 to 150 rupees. Now, not everyone can afford that. So, those two questions, please, Darryl.
Yes, so there are many superfoods, and if you have all of them in balance, then you don't need certain things only to give you nutrients. Now, yeah, avocado's got good fats in it, but if we also have, all our omega-3 and omega-6 from plant-based sources, that means there are so many grains, seeds, nuts, beans, peas, especially nuts that will give you your full range of oils and fats. So the most important principle for healthy life people should remember that they should eat local foods and seasonal foods and try to get them from organic soil that is well mineralized. Now the problem is that most of our farmers who are farming, their soil practices are not good. So the soil is not rich with minerals and nutrients. So then the plants do not get enough of the minerals and nutrients, and the plants they produce a smaller size of leaves or vegetables or fruits, and with lesser nutrition. Now we all know that even if the minerals and vitamins in our body are less, then we fall sick. Right? Our immune systems go down. So this is the same thing that happens with plants. The immune systems go down when soil nutrients are not good enough. And then the pests, like we have bacteria and germs attacking us, but the plants have got certain pests that go and attack them. And then the commercial solution is that farmers start spraying, pesticides on their plants. So the main thing is that that's why I became an organic farmer in 2015. Natural farmer, I follow permaculture principles. And it was mainly because earlier I was teaching people about healthy food, but you don't get healthy food even in a place like Goa that has such good, weather conditions. It is a shame, not only on people but on the government of Goa, that they have not created the infrastructure to feed Goans a complete range of natural fruits. And that's a project that I spoke about at the New Earth Summit in 2019, that Goa has the capacity to be self-sufficient in food. You see, so this is important. The main
so organic food. You're saying that we should, as far as possible, have organic food.
Yes, organic food, that as far as possible, on with good soil and farming practices. That is a rare breed of people, but I'm lucky to be connected with some amazing people in Goa, and we're trying to form a community and an education kind of platform where people learn how to grow healthy food. We have, a group on WhatsApp that has been full since the last years, and that small scale farming where we discuss with each other how to grow natural food, in a healthy, nutrient dense food. So that's what people should be having. They should be promoted in Goa. Although there is, there's organic clusters have been rolled out in Goa. That project has got stuck in some way. But now at the time of food shortage and a lot of food contamination, I think everybody who has land in Goa should take up this project of, growing food on their land and learn how to make the food. You need to have food security. That's the most important thing right now.
Right. Now, my next question is, I think a lot of people like me have started having the turmeric tea in the mornings. Turmeric with a little bit of lime. How good is it, and can you have it every day, or do you need to stop after some time?
Yes, we have to understand that things like, turmeric and ginger and garlic, they are not everyday food. They are being used as medicines. Some of them for their nutrient value, and some of them for their anti-parasitic, right, antibacterial and antifungal properties. And turmeric also for its healing properties. And so having these things as healing, that means first you should have a problem. And then you will know that once you take this natural medicine, you will see improvements in your problems within 3-4 days. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't have anything and you're taking this with something like turmeric, after about a week of everyday turmeric tea, it tends to increase heat within the body. I've had it happen with my own mother. After 20 days, she started getting blisters on her body. And so, yeah, we should be careful about these things. Extracts like curcumin from turmeric and all, yes, they are smaller doses. They have specific healing benefits. So advise people to have, all of these things in moderation. Generally, what I say is have it for 1 week, even any herbal tea. Now, there are researches that have come out which are showing that green tea on a daily basis, twice a week, and twice a day, is going to get you sick within a year. And I've seen that happen with people. So even for herbal teas, whether it's lemongrass, tulsi, green tea, or lavender, chamomile, sea buckthorn, I sell all of these organic teas at my organic market, the cheapest market every Friday in Goa. So I know well about them. I advise people have one of the herbal teas for a week, then stop it and have another one. So they will give you healing benefits and certain minerals, and nutrients that will keep your body in balance. So
Darryl, I'd like to interrupt you here. Basically, what you're saying is, suppose I'm having chamomile tea for this week. I should now stop after a week and then start maybe hibiscus tea. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Just variety.
Yes.
And it's very beneficial for the body.
Yes. So people don't have the exact knowledge of what minerals are deficient in their body. You see, so by doing this rotation, you will get a larger range of nutrients in your body within a month's time. That is much wiser.
All right.
And I've explained technically in my book. Okay, every plant has got mycotoxin, natural mycotoxins, which is part of plant biology or plant warfare against pests. But every plant is designed to make these mycotoxins so that it survives. The pest shouldn't eat the plant as it's growing, as its leaves come up, and as its flowers come. Only when the produce of the flowers come finally, that's the honey, that's the plant inviting these pests to come and take their pollen and go somewhere else. So the plant will create certain natural toxins in its leaves, especially. So all of these are herbal teas. Okay.
Right.
And that's the reason why, if we take these things for a whole month, that mycotoxin builds up in the digestive tract. Some of it can give inflammation to your liver, to your intestines. It can lower brain function also. So this is the reason. Once you stop having that, after a week, whatever little buildup is there, it comes down because the body absorbs it or cycles it. So then, I work with in a very scientific way, coming from an engineering background also of 17 years. I've taken health and nutrition in a very scientific, way.
Okay, Darryl, so you're saying unless you have a condition, you should not be having the turmeric and lime tea every morning. Am I right?
Yes, yeah, that's you're right. People who have got cough and cold, they take the Kada and all that. That's good. Take it for 1 week, 10 days, even 15 days if you are seeing improvement, and then you stop it and switch to something else.
What about people who have autoimmune conditions like lupus or anything else where there's a lot of inflammation? Can they have that every day?
Yeah, they should choose the teas that will help their condition for inflammation. Like, rose petal tea is very good for inflammation, and other teas as well. I think even sea buckthorn will help. Now,
Which one was that? Can you repeat, please?
yeah, sea buckthorn is also one of the herbal teas,
Okay.
and so people with inflammation, like I already mentioned earlier, they should get a lot of earthing and grounding. And of course, people with autoimmune conditions like lupus and others, many autoimmune conditions are coming from wrong foods and wrong conditions, and some of them are coming from a weak microbiome. That is an imbalance, either much lesser quantity of probiotic gut bacteria or a wrong combination of gut bacteria. So they need to go to centers where their stool culture is examined and the imbalance in gut bacteria needs to be analyzed. And according to that, later they have to go on a regimen of inoculating the digestive system with the right kind of cultures through fermented food.
So, how does one increase their good, make it probiotic, their system make it more probiotic naturally?
Yes, so natural ways are, fermented foods like kanji, then there's sauerkraut or kimchi. In my book, I have given the recipe of how to make cultured vegetables, just taking simple radish, beetroot, carrot, onion, and cabbage. There's a nice formula there in my chapter on probiotics. People can, follow that.
Okay. Now, one last question before I come to my big question. My question to you is, fasting is being advocated by many experts the world over. You too have written something in your book about fasting. What are your views on it? What would you tell people? And if the person is diabetic, should they fast?
So, fasting has come as a principle to actually replace certain bad habits. And my view is, if you correct those bad habits, you do not need to do so much of fasting as per what is recommended nowadays. So what I'm saying is that all species on this planet, okay, they follow natural cycles of food. So first, for them to eat food, they have to feel hunger. And hunger is a vacuum in the digestive tract space. It's a feeling. It's not a clock. The time on the clock of your Volvo right now is breakfast time, and I got to have 250 grams of breakfast. Then 1 o'clock is lunch time. I got to have a half a kilo of all of this rice, vegetables, all of this put together. So what we do is we overstuff ourselves. Human beings are the only ones who do not eat as per natural hunger cycle. Because the natural hunger cycle with the other species on the planet is there's hunger, then they eat, then the food that they eat, they spend in running around, protecting their territory, in the mating game, taking care of their children, protecting the whatever. And then when that cycle of energy is flowed, that energy is used within the human body, hunger happens again, and then they eat food. So in nature, there is no deliberate fasting. You will see when dogs and cats eat some, contaminated food, they will not eat for some time and they'll go and eat some leaves of some grasses and, other things. They know what natural antibiotics are. That's the only time they will fast. Otherwise, in nature, there is no deliberate fasting. So in my system, there is no. I'd rather take people through natural cycles of hunger, food, using up that energy. Because if you don't, that's the reason for obesity. And when you have obesity, then you have a business called the gym. And all those people who have not understood or mastered the cycle, they have permanent gym memberships just to keep their weight in control. And I have had program called, how to lose weight without a single day of exercise in your life, and that works beautifully. You see, so for me, fast, yeah, a person will have to be recommended, weekly fast if they are overeaters. So you rather correct that wrong habit. There's one reason for which I recommend fasting, and that is the process of autophagy, which actually takes 3 days. What happens in that? That means only water. Okay, fasting. If you have put on a lot of weight and a lot of fat, during that period of weight gain, what were you eating? Were you eating too much of fried foods, too much of processed foods, too much of acidic foods, things that had synthetic components in them? Then those things get stuck in the fat of your body. How do you get that? Because your body has become toxic and it will retain more water as well to dilute toxicity. It will retain more and more fat because around every toxin, the body will insulate it by putting fat over there. So if you want to take out, if you're overweight and you have got toxic things within your, you've had a toxic food intake or too much of cosmetics or, cleaning agents that have had chemicals in them, then you can go through a 3-day fasting, which is water fast, but you have to get into it gradually. Slow down your diet, get into only fruit, then from one morning you start only water, and so that in 3 days, what the body does is, because it is getting starved, it starts breaking down that fat and using it as energy. And then those toxins come in your bloodstream and you should drink water to flush them out through your kidney. That is the only kind of fast I have ever recommended. That is for detoxifying, for weight loss.
We have just 5 minutes, and my big question to you is, with the second wave of COVID, it has come back with a vengeance. And we are using sanitizers, we are using masks, everything that has been recommended. But people are still getting the virus. Now, what can we do to prevent contacting the illness? What should we do, and what if we have it, what can we do?
Yes, so one very important thing to know is what I spoke, the second wave that's happened now, and the number of cases are higher in Goa and higher all across the world. I spoke about this in a couple of my health groups in May last year. And what I shared is that the number of positive cases is just depending on the number of test kits that you put out. If you put 1,000 test kits outside over there, you are going to get about 300 cases which are positive, because the test, the PCR test by itself, I find it a very unscientific test in the first place, because it does not even take the whole virus. It takes a segment of the virus, which could be a common segment to other coronaviruses that have been around as well. And even it goes through cycles of magnification. Even the inventor of that test said that this is never to be used for diagnostic purposes. And when you magnify it up to 20 cycles, that's when it gives that a proper realistic count. But here they're taking it up to 30 and 35 cycles, which is why it is more and more people are shown to be as positive. So all that they're doing now in the second wave is that putting out more testing kits. So if you were getting 300 positive last year, you will get 600 positive or 800 positive this year. So that's what's happening. Cases are going higher, and whatever's coming in the media is only because they are doing more number of testing, and that also on a test that is not scientific and a guaranteed test. What they should be doing is viral culture, which is more closer to reality test. And viral culture nowadays, you can get the results within 24 hours. So I think this is being blown out of proportion. People who have symptoms, yes, they should get tested. They should get isolated and treated if they are going to infect others. So that is the first thing. Now the second thing is why people are getting the symptoms and falling sick and going into the hospital and into the ICU. The earlier points what I mentioned, right? All of those things are increasing, and one of the main things, like I mentioned, is the 5G. 5G installation and rollout is going across all over the world.
So it's basically weakening the immunity.
Yes, and so we are supposed to expect a much higher symptoms and viral-like flu symptoms with 5G, because it is many times much harsher than 4G. So this breathlessness, this inflammation of the lungs is all happening, according to me, because of the very harsh EMF fields that are coming from 5G. So I would suggest people, to stay away from such towers. And even if you've got a 4G tower and all of that, we need to stay away from them or shut them down and, get into internet that is coming through cables. I mean, we were doing that, cable internet was the main thing till about, 5 years or even up till 2015, 13. We should go back. When we are seeing that it's causing a problem, we should go back to, this. Now, the second thing, like you mentioned, masks, and sanitizers. Scientific proof is already there that, even the best mask, N95, in each of its pores, about 2 or 3 of the coronaviruses can go through each pore. So it's really not stopping, the virus getting into your system. And I've experienced myself that N95 mask, wearing it for more than half an hour, I get a headache. So what does that signify? That my body is getting acidic, that my oxygen is getting low. So now with wearing this mask, actually people's immunity is coming down. This is now medically proven.
So you're saying it's making it worse?
It's making it worse, and now people are getting fungal infections with their nose and their mouth because of this thing being closed all of the time and using that mask again and again and all the humidity that's there. So now these infections are growing. Okay, oxygen levels are coming down and acidity is going up in the body and fatigue is going up because of masks. And finally, the sanitizers, since you're seeing the recent CDC guidelines, they have released a report that the virus does not pass through contact and, on surfaces. It is only coming through the air. Now that means all of this madness that we were doing for the last 1 year of washing the bananas and the apples and every packaged food product we brought into the house, that has all been a complete, fraudulent understanding. So, and people's hands are getting dry with all of these sanitizers and they're getting rashes. So you are seeing immediate, health problems, right, within a week of using masks and sanitizers.
Right.
So of course, social distancing, yes, this is common to us. We always knew if somebody had the flu or the, something in earlier years, we would kind of, too much of cough and cold, we would say, okay, you stay in your room or, don't interact with us too much. And people used to remain in the house. There was no big pandemic kind of scenario of people getting psyched out so much. So I think, people who have symptoms, they need to be isolated, they need to heal, they need to be given more electrolytes, healthy food, they need to get sunlight, like I mentioned earlier. Very important for those people now who want to protect themselves from the, increase. Basically, you're protecting yourself from the virus or bacteria, whatever's out there, any infectious organism, by increasing your immunity.
Okay.
So,
Darryl, our time is up.
Sunlight, I just mentioned the last few things. Taking some minerals, like zinc, magnesium, B12, then getting sunlight, and any other, even magnesium.
Okay.
These supplements are important for people to have good.
Darryl, I'm sorry, I have to stop you and cut you short. We have learned so much from you, got a lot of insight, and especially for people who are suffering from diabetes, I'm sure they have benefited tremendously. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing all your knowledge with us. And to all our viewers, you too, thank you very much for joining us. Do give us your feedback.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Maria, and thanks to the Navhind Times and Goa 365 for airing this.
It's been a pleasure, Darryl, and we hope to see you soon, because we would like to speak to you about the metaphysical aspect of wellness with you, hopefully soon. To all our viewers, thank you for joining again, and do let us know what you thought about this episode. Until the next time, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.